We're going to do this one live?
Sure, let's do it. Rock it out. We'll do it live.
Welcome to My Got It Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I review Georgia's 56-7 domination of Charleston Southern. As always, remember to check out store.mygotapodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at My Got It Podcast. Finally, if you like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, 5 stars obviously, and review the show. If you leave us a review, you just might hear it on an upcoming episode. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right. So that game, I would say, went about exactly how we thought it would. We did hit the under on 0.5 My Got a podcasters attending. Neither of us made it. And I don't know about you, but like for me, I actually posted on Twitter because like right before the game was supposed to start, it still wasn't up. Like it was saying, this event has not started. And I was a little nervous about ESPN, like someone like flipping a switch in a room, so we could have the feed.
Right.
It was fine, but it was funny because I was like on that screen, like waiting for it to just start, and I had to like back out and then go back in, and then everything was fine. At any rate, it was there on time, so that was good.
I had a similar experience because we were on soccer tournament schedule, right? So after the morning game, we were like I had in my head that I was going to go over to Nofo Brewing Company. Rain T Dog, Andy Coleman, and I were talking about getting together because he lives literally like right down the street from the brewery and from where we were playing the soccer game. And so I was going to meet up with him. And so I got there and they were like scrambling just like you were. They were like, we don't know what's going on, why it's not working. But I had the same thing. And they ended up not even having sound because it was a streaming thing that was plugged into one of their streaming devices, and they never even imagined that they would ever need to pull sound from a streaming device for a major, college game. So
right. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say we could actually start with some props to Andy because he had the question on like wanting to see the Jordan Davis refrigerator Perry style goal line dive play, and we both were like, nah, not gonna happen, like no way, and even got into the like, well, but he lines up at a tight end, and like we did not have the foresight to think about a motion shift.
To
shift Jordan Davis into the backfield. The funny thing is too, like with it being streaming and it being so delayed, like I had a feeling it was coming, or I knew something was coming because I got a text. So actually, like we didn't go to the game, but our buddy Patrick he sat in our seats. His family went. And they sat in our seats, Patrick and Megan and their girls. And so I got a text from Patrick that was just like, wow, like all caps. And I was like, what? Something's about to happen. Because he's like in the future, for my delayed stream. So I knew something was going on. But then like the fact that, he didn't make it and then we just did it again. And then it worked. That was amazing. I did not think that Kirby would do that. I was wrong. So hat tip to Andy. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
I feel like that was like Andy's foresight from having high school football coaching experience. So hat tip to seeing that one coming. But that was definitely surprising. I did not expect if they had like pulled something like that against Alabama, like I definitely would have seen that kind of wrinkle. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, let's try it out. But like to pull that out against Charleston Southern, I don't know. That was interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens on the goal line now. At least it gave something for Alabama to think about.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wrong before, but I kind of feel like the opposite. I kind of feel like, you know what? It was Charleston Southern, so like, sure, throw it in there. I don't see us doing that on like what I would call it like a meaningful play. Although, granted, I mean, it was 0-0. That was the first touchdown. That was amazing. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that was Jordan. We said that if it happened, it could be kind of like a Heisman moment, and so certainly was. And I continue to see his name brought up. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see him kind of actually get into that race. But we had one other thing from another listener question. So Atlanta Sean had asked the long snapper question. And so it was pretty funny that we had talked about him. And then we started getting some tweets coming in during the game from Erk's Crimson Mask, pointing out that, number 0, the long snapper, like, stole 2 punt return touchdowns. He was like the guy that made the last ditch effort and tackled Garris, I think, twice, which prevented us from hitting the over on Coach Trillbill's, 0.5 special teams TDs. I was really convinced, and Garris was close twice. I think McConkey almost broke one as well. So we were right there. Did not quite make that one, but that was pretty funny too.
It was close, for sure.
But in general, just a fun day. Senior day, honored the seniors. The Jordan Davis directing the band, after the game. And not just directing the band, but became an honorary member of the Redcoats. That was pretty cool. Got a plaque. And from what I've read online, it seems that his directing was actually pretty good. Like, he was on tempo and things like that. So I don't know. That's fun to see. The last guy I can remember directing the band was Bobo in '97, but I don't think he took it as seriously as Jordan Davis
did. Jordan attacked the day with vigor.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know, just kind of going back through the game. A couple of other things, like we did see the return of Don Blaylock. Like, that was one of our questions. Kirby was hopeful on Blaylock, and we actually did see him. I saw some like differing reports of when he re-entered the game. I actually saw some people saying that he was in there in the first half, but wearing a different jersey. I didn't notice that. I definitely saw him in the second half wearing number 8. So I'm not really sure exactly when he came in, but he came back, played some special teams, got his first catch. That was definitely nice to see. I don't know how much of a contributor he'll be able to be for the remainder of the season. That's kind of TBD, but at least good to see him get back out there.
Yeah, I definitely don't recall seeing him in a different number. I hadn't seen any reports like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, somebody said, it was like one of the beat writers tweeted during the game, like during the first half, that Blaylock was on the field and that he was wearing 83. So I don't know if that was right or not. I don't know. I definitely saw him in the second half wearing 8. I don't know. I never saw anyone kind of go back to that. So I don't know. Maybe they were mistaken in the first half. Yeah. That's kind of random. But yeah, I mean, that was nice. I don't know. Let's see. I know, like, I was really bullish on, or was I bearish? I always get that mixed up. I don't know what I was. I thought we were going to hit the over on coaches, passing yards and rushing yards, over under. And I think we were under on both. So you were right on both of those. And I feel like it was because of your analysis of taking starting field position into account, which I did not do. Because we did have good field position, right? I mean, we had so many good kick returns. We had pretty nice field position.
That's true.
Because we did, we got, let's see, we had 255 yards passing altogether, and we had 233 yards rushing. So we were pretty close on both of them. And I do feel like we definitely saw Zeus return to form. I mean, I know lower level of composition, but he looked a lot more like himself in this game.
He did. Zeus was a beast, and James Cook looked good. I mean, we were averaging 7.3 yards per rush. It seemed like it was a good day at the office for the running backs for sure. I mean, Brock Bowers got an end around. We got to see some Dajon Edwards, who I believe will be one of the guys to watch for the future. Kenny McIntosh. Kenny had a great game. Yeah. I thought it was fun to watch him kind of get some action. And obviously the quarterback situation. We had some Brock Vandegrift at least attempted one pass.
Right,
um,
right.
but it was kind of a mixed bag, on the other side of the table, the passing game, granted, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, but the 2 interceptions were frustrating. So Stetson had the INT, and we were all kind of like, what the heck? Like, was the ball tipped? I can't even remember.
It was
Um,
tipped. When it happened, I definitely yelled at my TV. Who was he throwing to?
right.
But yeah, it was tipped. It was tipped.
Yeah. So you hate to see that. The Beck interception was just a silly play, in my opinion. It was just bad decision on his
Mm,
part to throw it into like what
yeah.
appeared to be like quadruple, triple coverage or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah. It was a good day for the dogs, obviously, but the questions are still kind of out there with the passing game. I didn't see enough from any of the quarterbacks to say, yeah, they should definitely be starting instead of Stetson. So that's probably par for the course, particularly since as if Brock Vandegrift's out on the field, the chances of our starters being out there are probably pretty slim. I think we were talking about that on the text thread that Jermaine Burton probably catches one of those balls that gets thrown up to one of the backup receivers. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to really make any true like true analysis on the quarterbacking, but it certainly was a question mark.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I had said that when we were texting about some of there was certainly one kind of, I don't know, I guess looked like an overthrow on a deep ball by JT. And I do think that's completed if it's Jermaine Burton going out for that pass. So I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely hard to tell, right? Because when the backup comes in and then you're operating with not the starters around you anymore, hard to tell. So yeah, I didn't see anything jump off. I mean, I felt like um, even Stetson was a bit off. But I mean, whatever. If you're going to have an off day, I guess Charleston Southern is a good day to have that. I mean, they were so overmatched. You can't
Yeah.
really glean much
What do we
from
run?
that anywhere.
69 plays?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not really. Not really a whole lot you can complain about.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then if you look at, I was gonna say like with our like score predictions and such. So let's say you had 58-3, I had 52-3. It was 56-7. So I'll definitely give it to you on this one. You were right there. And I mean, it probably should have just been a straight shutout. I mean, we've got to talk about
Yeah.
their touchdown. I mean, their touchdown.
Yes.
Like, what the heck? And so for me, I didn't even really experience it. And it sounds like this may have just been a me thing because I know I asked you and you said this did not happen to you, but my feed like went out on my stream. So I like their quarterback threw the ball, and while it was in the air, my feed went to like a green screen, and I was like, what happened? We lost the feed. And then when it came to their guy was in the end zone, and they had scored. And I was like, oh man, like what the heck? How in the world did we get the touchdown? And then like I could not have imagined like when they went to the replay and showed what happened, I was like, that's what I missed. Like I was just expecting like, blown coverage or something, not interception, fumble, touchdown.
Fumble. Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like that. That was nuts. So that was a total garbage play. But whatever, man.
Yeah.
Definitely counts against the defense. I mean, the defense gave that up. That was weird.
You gotta secure the ball there. Sorry. You gotta secure the ball.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was, I don't know, but again, just a weird kind of fluky thing. I was kind of looking back through my notes. We did. I know. I said a push for JT enters his game in the second quarter, and that was accurate. So that is when he came in. I did feel like the starters played a little longer than I would have wanted them to, but it didn't end up to matter at all. We didn't have any injuries coming out of this game or anything. I know we did have so there was still no Salyer. Also, Chris Smith didn't play in this game. I don't even think we had talked about. I don't feel like we were aware of that heading in, but He, I guess, like banged his leg with someone in practice, but sounds like nothing major. And then we also did not see we didn't see Nolan Smith in this game, but that was to be expected. So I don't know. All in all, I did eat. I had my cupcakes. So I did. So shout out to Fletcher Proctor for that question. I had honey buns. I had a honey bun with my coffee for breakfast, and then and so did my girls. And then the three of us, we all had a chocolate cupcake to celebrate the win over the cupcake post game. So and
And what they think?
they 100% were like, Mom has never let us have these. Which Lily kept being like, it's so much sugar. Like, this is bad for us. It was pretty funny. So I don't know. I feel like they've had them before. I feel like they were lying, but whatever. But they enjoyed them. They did say they were good, so they liked them.
Thoroughly brainwashed. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I'm sure that the next game comes around, they'll be like, "Can we get those cupcakes?"
Right. I mean, I still kind of disappointed in my grocery store because they were sold out of the Swiss cake rolls. I totally, that's what I wanted, but I feel like that not being there is what led to me also purchasing the honey buns, which was a little ridiculous. Those are already gone. We've eaten all of those. There are some chocolate cupcakes that are still left at this point. So,
Right.
I have to. I don't know. Continue eating those this next weekend. I don't really have anything else to say about the game. Trying to think. I don't know. It seemed like it was a beautiful day, and I can't really ask for anything more on a cupcake day like that.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else additional. Obviously, we were able to dip into some of the secondary players, getting some of our underclassmen some playing time. So, yeah, I mean, I think that it was overall exactly what we expected. Nobody was able to hang around. There wasn't like any kind of surprise hangovers or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, overall, just a pretty good warm up. Nice little relaxing game for everybody, for the seniors. Celebrate the seniors coming back out. The experience with Jordan Davis, leading the band was probably my favorite highlight of the day.
Yeah.
So, and I know Scott Duvall got some great pictures that he was posting online. That was pretty cool to see, since we were able to go, to at least get a glimpse of some of the game day action. So overall, great game.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, as Scott's pictures were amazing. Everyone should be following Scott, regardless. But he's his photography is excellent. I think like he really captured the day really well. I will say, like, I don't know, if we could move on from the game. I guess there are a couple of things that happened since, like, because we record pretty early during the week, so a couple of things happened between when we recorded and then when the game started. So one of those was the Kirby's leaked Florida halftime speech. That hadn't happened yet when we recorded. Um, I love it. I loved every minute of it, and I don't know. I guess some people got kind of up in arms about it. I didn't really see. I've heard people say that, but I didn't really see anyone complaining about it, like on my Twitter feed and such. But I don't know. I know we shared it. I shared it with a bunch of friends. A buddy of mine texted me like the day after. Was like, I just watched that video again before I went to work. Just get my day started. Man, it was awesome. So whatever. I think the only question to me is like, when things like that get leaked, is it like, who leaked it? Was it kind of intentional? Like, does anyone care that it was leaked? Kind of thing. That's more my question. But I thought it was pretty awesome. I didn't have any issues with it. I mean, it's a football locker room. Like, what do you think goes on in there?
Yeah, seriously. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's obviously it was. I actually think part of me feels like it was a planned release, just because I feel like that they knew what they had there. That everybody gets fired up about it, and we're also in pretty crux timeline for recruiting. everybody is getting a lot of noise. And when I say everybody, like, you know, all these recruits that are trying to figure out where they want to go to school, if they want to stick with their current team, which, you know, as we've seen, Kirby's been, it's flip season at the University of Georgia right now. The way that they've been flipping players that are committed elsewhere. I mean, Dan Mullen gets fired, which I know we'll probably talk about that, but Dan Mullen gets fired and he flips one of their top recruits the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that there's probably a little bit of like, let's release this into the ether and see what happens. And they knew that it was going to be a pretty positive thing, but I
Yeah.
don't know. Either way, it was amazing.
Well, so one of the things I know we had talked about was like, how was Mary Beth going to feel about it? And, you know, there were some articles that came out with quotes from Mary Beth Smart. So since like the articles came out, like I was like, well, I guess I know she was on 960, but and I hadn't listened to it, and so I went back and listened. So it's on like the 960 The Ref app or it's on their site. And so that was with Logan. So like Logan Booker, you know, has the morning show with David Johnson, and they have Russ
Right.
Tanner on Friday mornings, and Russ got Mary Beth to come on. So the segment's about like 45 minutes. You can hear it on the website. It is awesome. So I highly recommend it for anyone to listen to the segment if you haven't. But the funny thing is, so we were kind of saying like, you know, she kind of gave out that info about like that around like how close Kirby was or they were to accepting the South Carolina job, right?
Right.
Back when all that was going down. And she said that, you know, really revealed that like the South Carolina, I think president and AD were like in their kitchen when they found out that Rick had been let go from Georgia. So we were kind of thinking like, ooh, like payback for his rant. But if you listen to the whole thing, Mary Beth says that like she played the audio for their kids and that the kids were like dying laughing and that they thought it was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so she was like, you know, great parenting here, but I let our kids listen to it. So that was pretty awesome. That was awesome. I love that. So yeah, I'll put maybe a link to that interview like in the show notes or tweet it out for the podcast or something, because it's definitely good. It's lengthy, like it was like 45 minutes, but it was awesome. I listened to it over the weekend, so that was good. Highly recommend that. But yeah, you foreshadowed to my other thing. So, you know, we have to now like redo our memes. Well, first we were worried about just redoing the memes, and now like we don't get to use some of them until Mullen gets another job. So, I mean, you know, so
Jim,
well, you gotta.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these gifts. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these gifts now.
So many
Blast
gifts.
it.
You like unloaded all of them on that one thread. That was amazing.
I did.
But
might
like,
as well
you know,
use them all.
exactly. But Florida. I mean, again, you know, we did feel like they weren't going to have the greatest season. But I definitely nowhere would have imagined they would have lost six games. You know, not even be bowl eligible heading into the finale against Florida State. I mean, they've got to beat Florida State to make a bowl game. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that it was that many. At this point, like, you know, I'm not shocked now that they lost again. Like, I was kind of like, man, are they even going to beat Missouri? You know, based on the way things had gone. But if you had told me before the season that they were going to lose six games, you know, like saying they were going to go 8-4 is a lot different than sitting here at 5-6. So I don't know. I kind of wish they didn't lose that game because now Mullen's gone. I would have liked him to stick around.
Yeah, no kidding. We were hoping that he was going to get a nice little extension, but I mean, I guess the thing that I'm in my mind, if I'm the university, like the athletic director's got to go too, because like they allowed Mullen to make a coaching decision, and then a week later they just fired him. Like I don't understand. Like what was it that they were looking for that they didn't see?
Mm-hmm.
in all this, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like that there's a failure of leadership on the athletic director's part. So like it wouldn't surprise me to see, you know, Florida looking for a new athletic director not too long from now. But the decisions that are all associated with that coaching situation are just baffling to me because I don't think that you saw anything like I don't think that we saw anything that we didn't already know in the last several games with them
Yeah.
to warrant have keeping him around more than a couple of more games. I just don't. I don't know. I almost feel like that we like all combined in our clowning efforts probably made that situation worse from a political pressure standpoint, where it was like they just got sick of seeing all the memes and the clowning going on that they were just like, all right, it's almost like one of those like politics moves where it's like the Major League Baseball like has to pull the All-Star game from the Braves because of politics. There's just so much noise happening in the media world. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think ultimately, like, like that Twitter space that was going on Saturday night, like the Fire Mullen thing. I mean, and I didn't know any of those guys that were in there, but it was pretty funny to listen to. But like in general, if those guys are that upset, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's all about money, right? So I'm sure the big boosters for Florida had enough. I mean, that's the same thing that happens everywhere, right? Once you lose those guys, you've lost everything. So I would imagine it's that. It'll be interesting to watch. I mean, they're definitely not the only team looking for a coach, and I know we saw some like reports that they may be looking at Napier. I don't think anything has officially come out there yet, so we shall see. But they're one of many. Um, so I don't know. We'll see if it pays off for them. If they can get anyone to do anything better than Mullen, we'll see. I definitely would have liked him to stick around because I felt like Kirby kind of owned him, but it is what it is.
He has owned him, yeah. I don't know, man. They just seem like they're churning through coaches, and trust me, as a fan of Manchester United, who also incidentally fired their coach on Sunday morning. Um, yeah, it's and that's another situation that I sympathize with the Gator fans, because you had a couple coaches with some one legendary coach and one coach that had some success briefly,
Hmm.
and then they've just been churning through coaches ever since. So like I get it,
Yeah,
like it's a frustrating experience, but fortunately we do not have such a problem at the University of Georgia.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I guess the last thing that happened over the weekend was it is official. Alabama clinched the West, although not without some difficulty in that Arkansas game. I think Arkansas kind of gave them all they could handle, but they pulled out the 7-point win. So we do officially now know that it will be Georgia versus Alabama for the SEC championship. Um, and I think at least for a spot in the playoff for Alabama, I think Georgia's in either way. Um, so I don't know. So that's set up, and you know, everybody wants to talk about that. But I'm going to say I'm going to at least try to limit talk about that when we talk about Georgia Tech. When we preview that game, because I'm not one to look ahead, but it's out there now, right? So we know that'll be there. So
Yeah, I think that everybody kind of expected it. I mean, it was all but guaranteed. So,
yeah, yeah,
um, but yeah, um, I think that it was interesting, like you said, seeing a motivated team um, against Alabama. They were at home too, so like Arkansas gave them everything that they can handle at home.
right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. It was definitely interesting to see, because we got back to the hotel from the soccer tournament. I basically turned on the TV. Didn't really watch it hardly anything uh, after the the Georgia game,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in soccer tournament mode, and then we went to dinner afterwards and walked around and all that kind of stuff. Like kind of hung out. Didn't really see a whole lot of college football action. Was following some of the tweets and texts, but like still had no idea what was going on. I got back and turned on the TV, and it was Alabama was in the victory formation, and it was
Yeah.
like, whoa! Even Carter stood up. He says, "Whoa, they almost won."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they cut it to 7. I think like twice. Towards the end. Although the last touchdown, like Alabama was up 14, and Arkansas scored within like the last minute, right, and then tried to onside, didn't get it, and then Alabama went to the victory formation. So, but it was close. It was close. I think Arkansas played a good game. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, I think that about does it. Like we said, cupcake game, senior day, great day. Really for everyone involved. Always good when you come out of a game like that with no injuries or no new
Yeah,
injuries.
thank God.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hopefully we can come out of the next game without any without any suspensions or injuries and things like that. That's kind of what we're looking at moving forward now, is just
mhm.
keep everybody healthy, keep everybody out of trouble. No headlines are good headlines for in this case. So
Yep.
um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you got to
that's
watch out for the Jackets. I mean, that's what they do. They lie and they cheat. So
well, and then you also have other things like, we also have, since we know our destination and, by all intents purposes, we've got another bye week coming up this weekend, which I know we'll talk
ugh,
about, but, other things to kind of, look for this weekend. We got, Cincinnati's got a big game coming up on Friday.
yeah,
A potential trap game for them against East Carolina. You got, we saw Oregon fall in dramatic fashion. So there's still a lot that could potentially happen as the college football playoff kind of plays out here. So, it's nice for us to sit back from our perch and just kind of watch the peasants kind of fight amongst the scraps.
yeah. I know. Like, you think back to like when Alabama lost that game and like we moved into number one and like it was such a big deal, and now here we are just kind of going from week to week. It's just like, yeah, yeah, we're number one. Like we don't even talk about it anymore. Yeah,
No,
like it just kind of is what it is. Which is a great.
just enjoying the ride.
Yeah, it's a great place to be in. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back soon to preview clean old fashioned hate. But until then, go dogs.
Go Dogs.